film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film is probably the best and worst way you can spend your summer vacation. I don't know. Well, tonight we have a guest. We have a filmmaker who has made not one movie, not two movies, but a trilogy of micro budget horror films. So I'd like to welcome tonight Mr. Jared Zaragosa.
Hello, everyone.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was good.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
And if you are unfamiliar with the Indie Film Sucks podcast, this is the podcast where we talk about the highs, the lows, the in-betweens of true independent filmmaking. And, you can find us on Instagram and indiefilmsucks.com and Facebook, and we will review your films. And if you are fortunate enough, you can be interviewed on the show, and that's a dubious honor at best. So Jared, let me ask you the famous question:
Okay.
What is your suck?
Okay. I think, yeah, I was trying to think about this one. I feel like there's a lot of things. 100% something actor related. I think actors not being reliable.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think, I think actors not being reliable. Not like just being like late or just I guess just being like absent entirely. Like people who can't really count on to be like available at certain times, or that will only communicate things to you. Because if your actor's not there, there's like really not much you can do. I feel like there's some other things, like if something's broken or something's not working. You there's some these things that you can fix, that you might even fix in post production. But I think 100% if your actor is not there, or multiple actors are not there, or can't be relied upon to be like to go to certain locations or something like that, or just not reliable in general, and you can't get them on screen doing the scenes that you want, then that's 100%, like you can't really get away with that, because you just can't film.
sounds like you had a pretty specific issue.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I guess not too specific, but I think over the course of, like, because I had worked with a lot of people. Um, I had worked with a lot of people over, I think, maybe like 30 different people. And a lot of them, like basically all of them were great. Everyone was having fun. But in the beginning, where I was a little bit younger, I was around like 14 or 15. I feel like I was like taken a lot less seriously. So people weren't as like people weren't as excited. People didn't really see like much progress because I had just been starting. Um, so I have a few friends that would kind of just like not really take it seriously, and didn't really know what I was trying to do. So people would just wouldn't be reliable. Um, or people just wouldn't tell me they didn't want to do it. They would do it, and then they wouldn't come. They would never, like, I had one actor who just didn't want to do it anymore, but didn't tell me that. So they kept delaying stuff. And then I ended up having to write them out of the first film, which is it was kind of abrupt, but it wasn't like he wasn't too important of a character. So there's definitely that. But I think later on, once I had things to actually like prove what I was doing, I kind of had more like proof of concept, and people were able to see that and kind of knew what they were going to be part of. It was a lot easier to get people to get more excited about things, because they could actually see what they were going to make. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would imagine that you're going to stick with this. It's in your blood,
Hmm.
and you will find the farther along you go down this path, the more worthless people you're going to encounter. I used to break
Yeah.
it down like this: for every 20 people that get involved with the film, 18 are completely useless. But those other two are solid gold. And those are the people you want to hang on to. And
Yeah.
eventually you form a group of those top tier people that understand what we're trying to do, and they get the process, and they realize that, I guess, from the outside looking in, making a movie seems like a lot of fun. And it is fun to make
Yeah,
films,
yeah, it is. It is.
but it's also hard as hell. And
Yeah,
and once people see that, oh, this is actually work, this isn't all fun and games, I don't want to do that, then they bail out.
right.
So it's the people that understand that, yeah, this is an artistic pursuit. Yeah, this is something that's not your standard thing that most people do, but they understand that, and they not only enjoy it, but they embrace the work.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's what I kind of saw. Like let's just later on, it just seemed like people, yeah, just people understood much more what they were like getting themselves into, but a lot of them didn't really see it as like work. They definitely knew it was hard and it was very time consuming, um, because people didn't like really know how much like went into making like a film, and but everyone had it seemed like everyone had fun, making the films, and the time didn't really feel like a chore, especially because it wasn't like the actors were coming up on set every single day. They might have only been at like a third of the film days, and then the other third with these other actors, or just a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Like that, um, once they actually like kind of understand the art and understand like the work, and also can have fun with it, it makes it a lot better of experience for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're what? You're 18 years old, correct?
I turn 18 tomorrow.
well,
Yeah.
well, happy early birthday, brother.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So you have made a trilogy of films before you even turned 18.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I have not seen the films, but I've watched the trailers. And from just the trailers, they look pretty damn well put together.
Thank you.
So when did you start this process?
I think I was either 13 or 14. I think it was like first month of my freshman year of high school. So I would have been like 14, and I saw the thumbnail of this YouTube video, and it had this bear and it had a bunny and a bear. It had these two they looked like these very grotesque um like masks, and they weren't really masks, they're like suits.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that, and instantly the first thing in my head, I'm like, wow, it'd be crazy if someone made a horror movie with those two characters. And that's kind of where it started. And I guess I just never really stopped. Like it never like became a horror movie with those two characters. It ended up being something I never even thought I was gonna make. Because by the end, they're not even. I wouldn't even consider them horror movies. I would more consider them like very low fantasy with some horror in them. But I never saw that. I always thought it'd be cool to make a slasher film, and then fast forward 4 years, and I'm basically making this kind of like this low, like kind of like Stephen King fantasy, very low fantasy film trilogy. And I never saw that. I never saw that happening. But yeah, so definitely, yeah, when I was like, yeah, 14, barely, maybe I was like 14 and a half, something like that. So yeah, just about 3.5 years, 4 years, something like that.
Man, that is insane.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
mean,
Yeah.
when I started filmmaking and I went from zero to, 1,000, I was 27. So
Mhm.
that's like, 10 years removed from that. And I know filmmakers now in their 60s who have yet to make a feature film. And here you've made three. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
why did you decide to make a trilogy?
It was actually supposed to be four movies at first. But I think what happened was, I didn't really. I think it was kind of good that I had no idea how hard making a full film was. I had literally no idea. I had been making like films since I was like 6. I made like stop motion films, and I made like 2 like they were really small budget movies in like a camcorder. They were like, little like 30-minute. I kind of forgot. I don't know if they were films or if they were kind of like little films. But yeah, I had gone from that, and um I guess I never understood how hard making an actual feature length film would be. So I just started kind of, casting, and I started, getting locations and everything. And and then I started filming, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of hard. And I had a lot of material. I had so much. I kind of created this world, and I feel like I had so much that I wanted to explore in it. So I kind of made like a quick, like, not really a Bible, not even really a treatment, a kind of thesis for 3 more films to come, and how I kind of wanted the story to go after. And um and then once I had been like halfway through the first film, I'm like, oh my God, this is really hard. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make 2 more of these films. But I was also very young. I mean, I'm still very young right now, right? But it was like 4 years ago. I'm like, okay, well, if I were to do it, I would want to finish it before I finish high school, which would give me like 3.5 years. So I'm like, somewhere down the line, maybe. And I also knew that if I didn't finish this film, I wouldn't finish the story that I wanted to tell. And I also knew that if I gave up right there, it would be another thing that I had, because I'd done so many other projects before, but I never really got them off the ground. I never really completed anything. So I knew that if I had done this and I didn't finish it, either I didn't finish the film, and I would fail, and that would be a failure, or I would finish the film, but I would never go on to make the next films that and there were things that I really wanted to see, because I was making the films because I wanted to watch them,
Mhm.
and I really wanted to watch these films. So once I got there, and I'm like, well, I gotta keep going, or I can't stop here. I gotta keep doing it. So I guess I kind of just did it, and things just worked out. And there's so many things that I had no idea how I was gonna do, but I wrote them anyway because I wanted to watch that, and then I ended up, figuring out later. So yeah,
I mean, it doesn't get more independent than that.
right,
I
yeah,
mean, 100%. I didn't know how to do it, but I figure I'm just going to do it and see how it turns out. I
right,
mean,
exactly, yeah,
that's you know, I think that's the way to go
yeah.
when you're first starting out. So, how long is each film?
The first one is about an hour and 45. The second one is like 2 hours and 20. It might be 2 hours and 30, but I think there's an intermission in there because I made it for a premiere. So it's probably like, I think real length is like 2 hours and 15, maybe 2 hours and 20. And then the third one is 2.5 hours. So the third one is the longest one of the 3. And that's the
So,
one I think actually I spent more time on the second one, but yeah.
so you're not just making features, you're making epics here.
Yeah. That was kind of, yeah, I think once I'd gone to the second film, I kind of had this realization that these were more, low fantasy movies. So these were kind of like low scaled epics, and I was, very inspired by mostly by like Lord of the Rings and how it told the story in 3 parts, so that that sort of thing, and all these, like magical elements that I wanted to implement.
So, did you have any background? I mean, do you have any relatives who were involved in film, or where did all this come from?
Why did I want to start film in the
Hmm.
first place?
Yes,
I don't have, yeah, I don't think I have any family that's I mean, my family likes movies, but they don't no one really like made films. I think where it came from was I was like 6, 7, or 8, around that age, and I just loved storytelling so much. I would write books, and I mean, not like, not like long books or anything. They were like
sure.
15 pages, and I would staple them and stuff like that. And I just love storytelling. I love creating stories. I wanted to get the next one, the next one. So I guess that love for storytelling kind of translated into filmmaking, because, well, how else do I tell these stories other than try and film them. In the beginning, it was like stop motion because that was the easiest medium to
Hmm.
like tell stories. It was hard to like get people to to film when I was like 8 years old or 7 years old or however old I was when I started. So stop motion was the easiest, and I guess I kind of never stopped. I kind of kept progressing, and then I kind of gotten into actual like film once I turned about 13 or 14. But that's when I actually wanted to like go out and film things.
So what kind of crew did you have for these?
I my crew was very small. It was basically just me. It was basically just me and one person on the audio. And much later, I'd done like a kind of guerrilla setup for some of the scenes where I wouldn't even have someone on audio. Either I'd have like a boom. It's basically like a boom like holder, and I would place it in there, and I would have a whole thing like tied up, connecting to the camera, and I would film scenes like that because it was a lot easier to set that up than get another person to get on audio when I already had everyone I asked to be actors and everything. Um, so yeah, it was so a lot of the times it was mostly just me, or sometimes I would even like I would strap it onto the camera and kind of add it to the rig if I was, outside and I didn't want it to get into stuff. Because I tried doing that outside, having someone on the boom pole, and it was a nightmare. So that was, it was a lot easier to do it like that, especially if, with one person. I didn't really have to like rely on anybody else. But yeah, I would say most of the crew was mostly just actors.
Wow. Yeah, and that's pretty common for when you're starting out with indie film. I mean, that is pretty much the playbook right there.
Yeah.
So how many shoot days per film would you say?
Ooh, I think the first one, I didn't count the first one. The first one might have been it might have been like 20 or 25. The second one I actually counted, it was 21. But those were like the bigger shoot days. There was a few small shoot days, so it might have also been 25. And then the third one was like 30, like 38, I think. There were 27 like main shoot days, and then there were a bunch of small stuff that I filmed because either reshoots or just scenes that I needed to get in there, but it didn't like need to like constitute its own like film day. So I think days that I actually went out with the camera, 35 to 38, something like that. So I think that all totals up to like around 90, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So what was the biggest obstacle you encountered apart from cast issues?
Um, let's see. Yeah, apart from cast issues, um, I think locations. A lot of locations were really hard, especially because I kind of written. I think I would write a lot without putting thought into where I was actually going to shoot. So I would just write like I think one time I wrote like a farm or an abandoned farm. I'm like, oh well, I don't know where abandoned farm is, but I'm gonna write it in there. And I ended up finding one, and we shot there, and then the Rangers found us, and we had to get out of there. So we kind of had to improvise a little bit. I mean, no one got arrested or anything. And I told them, guys, this is technically illegal, but if anything happens, I'll take the blame for it, right? Because I'm getting you guys out here. But it was like park rangers, so I didn't expect anything bad to happen. But they just we they the truck got over there, and then we kind of just got out of there. And yeah, I think also finding like places in the in the woods, because the second film, a lot of it, about half of it takes place like in the woods. So getting people out into into places that look like they're in like the middle of the woods was sometimes kind of difficult. But I did find this kind of like underpass like near this park that everyone kind of lived close to. So that was pretty cool. But the thing is, it wasn't really that big. So I sometimes I'd have to go to like around me this place called Sanborn. We had to like drive up there. It's like 30 minutes. So yeah, I think it's just that was it's very time consuming getting people to these locations and also like filming in them, especially because a lot of it's outside and it's a lot harder to film outside than it is inside, I would say.
Mm, yeah. Did
Yeah.
you have any run into any weather issues?
Um, I think the first film, there was a lot of wind and rain for this one scene. I ended up cutting it out because it sounded terrible. Um, and then I think there was oh, actually it was one of the last shoots. I think it was like second to last shoot. There was a really heavy rain this one day, and I think it was like a day before. I knew it was going to rain really bad. We already scheduled to shoot, so I went in the script real quick and I kind of implemented the rain into the scene because I thought if if they agreed to film in the rain and I give them like rain gear and everything, and if they agree to do that and I was able to implement it in the scene, that would actually be really cool because it was during a very heavy climactic moment. So I thought the rain would kind of add this atmosphere that you can't really add rain in post production, and it just looks so cool having the rain actually like dripping off the characters, especially at this at the height of the movie. So that was actually kind of a blessing, but other times it was really really hot. I think like filming, yeah, I think it was like filming outside for the second film. It was very, very hot. I think it had reached 100 degrees one day. But we were kind of in the shade, so it wasn't like too bad. But yeah, it definitely did get intense sometimes, and we kind of try to hurry things up a little bit so we wouldn't be standing in the heat for that long. But yeah, nothing too major. I would just say like mostly just temperature and then the whole rain thing, which ended up helping us out because I think the scene looked a lot better that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume you shot this whole thing like totally guerrilla, like no permits, no hardly any
Oh
budget,
yeah.
hardly
Absolutely. Yeah.
everything under the table, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we. The only place I got permission. Actually, no. I technically didn't even get permission. Um, but I filmed at this office that my dad let me film at, but we didn't. It wasn't exactly like It wasn't exactly that we got permission, but it was like I don't know, it wasn't exactly like against the rules to do it. So, but he did let us film there, and that was really cool. We got a lot of cool shots in there. Um, and then everywhere else, yeah, we kind of just showed up. We kind of just picked places that weren't really like conflicting with things. We people wouldn't be walking around, or there wouldn't be security around. And those are the best places to film because they looked the best and there wasn't really anyone stopping us, except for the whole rangers and everything. But
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely of the ask for forgiveness rather than permission
right,
s-
yeah,
school of thought. I mean, as long as you're not putting anyone in danger or anything like
right,
that,
yeah,
we don't want to do that. But
yeah,
yeah, like grabbing free production value shots, that's the way to go, man.
yeah.
100% of the time.
Right, totally. Yeah. And I mean if they were gonna do anything dangerous, I tell them like I wouldn't ask you guys to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Like if I never did this, but if I was asking like if I was gonna do like we're gonna do some kind of like a roof stunt or something like that, which I don't even know when we would do that. But I would be also jumping off the roof with the camera with them if we were gonna do that. Because I wouldn't want the actors doing something that I wouldn't want to do myself because that just feels kind of disrespectful. Especially since they're basically doing me a huge favor, doing this. So I just thought, that would be if I ever encountered something like that, then that would be it. I think the only time it was really like that was we were in the rain and I didn't have any rain gear on or anything, but I didn't really care because the shots just looked amazing. Um, and they were all fine and everything, but I mean I didn't care what was happening to me as long as I knew what we were filming looked good. That was all that really mattered.
So, was this a case that you went in a post on each one and wrapped it and started the next one, or did you go in a post after they were all shot, or how'd you handle that?
Yeah, every single time I would film, I would go back basically immediately to go and to upload into my computer and start editing. I would basically do like very very basic composition of the scene, like just kind of seeing a very rough cut. I wouldn't do any like audio, anything like that. I would kind of just put the scene how I want it to be paced, and then I would get to all the the enhancements, the color grading, all that later. But because I think just when I'm thinking about filming the scene and I'm imagining how I want the scene to be shot, I want to see how the scene looks immediately. So that's exactly like the first thing I do when I get home. I would start uploading it, and and then I would like start editing because I wanted to see it like how it was shot.
So after everything's wrapped up, what did you do as far as festivals or release or anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't released it. Like I haven't released it anywhere yet. It's done. There are still actually there's a few edits I do want to make because me and my dad watched it the other day, and we did have a few. There was a few notes that he had, and there's some things that I saw, very minor tweaks that I kind of just wanted to put in there. But I think the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna premiere on my high school theater on the 24th. I'm not sure how much of a crowd there'll be. I think last time we got about 30 people. This time, a lot of more people know about it, and it seems like it's getting shared a lot more. So I think maybe a bigger turnout, maybe like 40 or 45 or 50, something like that. Then after that, then I'll see. I'm not sure about festivals. There might be some copyright issues in there. Whatever it is, I don't know if I would do festivals or if I would just try to share it and not get any monetization on it. Because I think I technically have need to use things that I'm not supposed to be making money on. But
Well,
it's not really about making money off of it. I kind of
sure.
just want people to watch it, you know.
I mean, yeah, if you're using like copyrighted music or copyrighted materials, then
Yeah,
yeah, you're kind of hosed there as far as uh, in any kind of distribution goes. But
yeah.
I'm here to tell you, getting your film a distribution is not all it's cracked up to be. To be perfectly honest, uh,
Like it's harder to do or not as it's not like as rewarding as you would think it is.
I mean, if you want your film to be released and you would like someone else to make a lot of money and you make zero, then distribution is the way to go.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Right. Yeah.
that's that's my opinion on that by and large. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think nowadays the way to go is self distro through Film Hub or Bitmax or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Or
as far
Vimeo,
as
wherever else they have that stuff on.
yeah, I mean technically you can release through Vimeo, which we release some of our stuff through Vimeo, and it performed terribly.
Mm.
But you know,
Is it like a were you making like can you make money off of it or how do you know if
oh
it's
oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can uh, set it to rent or buy. It's just the key to filmmaking, the key to indie filmmaking, is not making the movie. It's how to market the movie.
Right, yeah.
That that's the most important thing. You could have the best movie in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And you can have an utter dog shit film, but if you have a great marketing push behind it, that can that can be your golden ticket right there.
Right, yeah.
But the
Um
oh, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, yeah, this I didn't think yeah, I kind of wanted to like I wanted to have the films like completely done and released and have, a very basic crowd watch them first before I really get them onto platforms. But also I kind of thought it would be I guess just like looking at now, it is more of like a resume thing, kind of like a proof of concept thing. Like instead of having a bunch of short films I would release, if I were to ever try to get any kind of deals or anything, I could use the fact, that I've done this to kind of what would you call it? Like kind of like a proof of concept for like myself that I can like,
Sure.
you know, that I was able to do this and I was able to handle this many people and kind of do this all on my own. But not exactly, like make money off of it or have, a lot of people see it. But it definitely it is a boost. Um, because I just feel like that, everyone my age would either just be trying to make a lot of short films and try to get those into
Mhm.
festivals. So I think just I don't know if doing things differently would is going to help me out at all, but I guess I'm going to find out in the coming years.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to help or not, but I will tell you this: most people, period, will never make a single feature film, right? And the fact you have
Mhm.
made three before you were 18, And again, I have not seen the film, so I cannot speak to their quality. But from what I have seen from the trailers, like, man, these look pretty good. They do not look like something that you know a 14-year-old kid slapped together. I mean, they look like a lot of work and thought and a uh, a filmmaking mind made them happen. So that's quite an accomplishment
Thank you.
for any person at any age at any time. So again, the fact that you've done this before you turned 18, I know one other person who has achieved that, and that was 30 something years ago.
Mm.
And that's this guy Eric Stanzi, that he was making feature films when he was 15, 16, 17 years old. And his first three films, first two or three, were uh, not not the greatest,
Mm.
not the greatest things. But the fact that they were made by someone who didn't, they weren't a adult with 20 years behind them. They were a kid,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and they were competent, if amateur films, that said a lot. So I mean, I think you're already many steps ahead of that. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I think my first film definitely is not. I guess I don't know. I feel like my first film is definitely the worst of the few. Where I feel like a lot of people, like, for film series, they'll say the first one's always the best. I definitely think the first one is like, kind of just either I wouldn't say it's like just plain bad, but I think it's something that I'm not too proud of. I think you can definitely tell, like, a 14-year-old kid wrote it. Um, I think there's just, I don't know, there was just some things that I hadn't really thought of. You can definitely tell that there was a world being, like, created with that first film. There's a lot of different things being put into motion to kind of be used later. But I think the greatest flaw that I made in the first movie is I never really that it's like having a lot of Chekhov's guns, but none of them really get fired in the end. So the whole climax kind of feels like the whole thing feels like the first act of a big movie. It's kind of what it is, but I think the second and third film have an actual definitive three acts, and they have it has an actual satisfying climax. Whereas the first one kind of just feels like one big act, and then you get these smaller acts.
Sure.
I definitely think the first one is the worst film because I was trying to experiment with things. But then the second film, I think I greatly improved on, because I actually like watching it. I think it has a lot more character work. It has a lot more soul into it. I just feel like I I had kind of knew what I was doing by that point. And then the same I think goes for the third film. I kind of feel like those two are more joined together. So if there was a way to make it more of a duology, or I don't know if people are able to just watch the second one and not watch the first one, and if they want to watch the first one to kind of get more out of what happened before, kind of like this an extended prologue. I guess it can be seen like that. But I don't think the first film is a representation of my work, I guess. If that
I
makes sense.
think my I think my first feature's terrible, and I was 29, 30 when I made that. So
Yeah.
so what does that tell you? So you have not even graduated high school yet, correct?
Yeah, I graduate in 2 months.
Okay, so I mean, what are your plans as far as a career in film? Is that your goal? Is that your
Yeah,
step? Do you plan to
100%. Yeah.
do you plan to go into film school?
I plan to major in film. I'm not sure about film school because I feel like what I've heard about film school is that when you go to film school, you learn a lot of the technical elements, which is really cool. I think it's a really cool skill to have, but I feel like there's a lot of different ways to kind of get that get that knowledge. And I feel like if I find my way onto working on film sets, even just as an intern, I feel like I would learn a lot that way without having to, like, pay for film school. And I feel like I feel like it might be good for, like, connections, because a lot of the important things in the film industry is making connections. But
Hmm.
I also thought, just going to college and majoring in film would also give me that without having to actually go to film school to like, to learn like, all the technical aspects. Cause I think I also want to learn a lot more about just storytelling in general. Um, because I mean, I don't think the technical aspect is my like biggest strong suit. As much as it fascinates me, I don't, I wouldn't want to spend multiple years only fixating on that, where I feel like, college film might give me kind of both. Um, I'm not too sure though, but I know in right now in high school, my film class that we do all 4 years, it kind of balances the two. We learn a lot about storytelling, and we also learn about the technical aspects. And there's like also room for either one. Some people just do the technical things, and some people do a lot of storytelling, a lot of script writing, and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so I guess I would want to. I would definitely want to try, either graduating with a film degree and then also having a lot of things under my belt because I don't want to just graduate with a film degree and try making a film with just a degree. I kind of want to have, multiple proof of concepts for myself. And especially, being like proving that I can make feature films of my own, hopefully would give me a leg up onto making, in an actual like, higher budget indie film, something under $1 million.
Yeah, the most important thing you're going to get out of film school, because I mean, you've already proven that you know how to make a movie. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not to the standard of a six-figure budget film, but you've already proven that. So the most important thing you would get out of film school, in my opinion, would be the connections you could possibly make.
Hmm.
And that's like film, like life, like everything else. It's all in who you know.
Right.
And that's the most valuable takeaway from that. So yeah, before I'd spend a ton of money or take out loans or whatever going to a film school per se, like NYU or UCLA or whatever. I would probably not take that route, but maybe major in film with a minor in something that's that's not film,
Right.
because first and foremost, if you go into filmmaking because you want to make a lot of money, uh, unless you come from a lot of money, good luck, because
Right. Yeah.
it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to work in the commercial side of things. So if you want to make, like, by commercial, I mean commercial or industrial or event or anything but creative narrative film, you can make pretty good money doing that. But I think most filmmakers, and I know I put myself in this camp, don't get a lot of real satisfaction from, working on tire commercials. Most
Yeah.
filmmakers, they want to tell stories, they want to make narrative films. I mean, I guess unless you're a documentary filmmaker, but
Right.
yeah, I would. I mean, going to school is never a bad thing. And I used to be very much in the anti-school camp because I mean, I didn't go to film school. I barely went to high school. So I used to be very anti that, and I've come around to see the benefits. And the biggest benefit is not the technique and the skill that you can learn, because I think you're already light years ahead of everyone you're going to encounter, but it's the people you're going to meet, and
Right.
those people can prove invaluable later on.
Yeah. 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 A lot of like a lot of good connections, and that's what. Yeah, I just feel like I don't have a lot of if I don't know enough people and I don't talk to enough people, I feel like I'm never gonna get any kind of. I feel like every single person I talk to is an opportunity. Um, even you just non filmmaking related, but yeah, I think if I'm gonna major in film or want to get something in film, I kind of have to talk to a lot of people in order to find some kind of opportunity somewhere. Um, but yeah, I guess it hasn't, I'll just have to wait and see, see what happens.
So, all that aside, what other film projects do you have lined up, if you have anything?
Right now I'm working on a short film called Crashing. It's kind of it's for my filmmaking class. It's our final. And I started filming it like a few weeks ago. It's only like 3 filming days, so I see it more as a. And I'm using some of the same actors that I used for my feature films, and they had worked on it. They had been on it for many days. They had done like maybe 20 or 30 shoots or something like that. So and they were super cool with doing this short film. And I kind of told them this is kind of a victory lap for for doing that, because after this, I don't know how many. I don't know the next time I'm going to be making something is. I definitely do want to kind of take a break and get to writing and get to, kind of get to my next feature film. But I think if I were to make another feature film, I kind of had this idea, this kind of. I don't know if I originally it was supposed to be this like zombie movie set in Mexico, and I also wanted to shoot it guerrilla style, like Gareth Edwards and Monsters. Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
Yeah. So something like that. Not actually in Mexico, especially with with everything that's going on right now. But
Sure.
I was definitely thinking, maybe like somewhere kind of like in around the rural areas of where I live, like rural California. If it's an hour or two away, I can film in areas like that. And then I also thought, maybe if I do a tropical zombie film, and the whole like zombie backdrop, I kind of wanted to use that to tell more like human stories. I had a very basic like lineup. I kind of thought, a zombie film set in like a foreign country, or somewhere where everyone speaks another language, so it's really hard to communicate with people. And it would be this teacher and 4 or 5 students like on this like field trip, or some kind of trip, like an honor roll trip or something like that. And their whole goal is essentially to leave either the island or the country or whatever. But it was really hard because they don't speak this other language. And the main enemy isn't actually the zombies. It's the people that are turning against each other, or kind of creating their own, territories in there. And I feel like that would be the most realistic outcome if that would happen. If they were like, weaker zombies, and the infection was more of a thing that kind of just killed people, and it kind of just made them like very light obstacles. But I feel like people would kind of create their own tribes and territories and stuff like that. And that would be the real story, would be going against these people that have kind of created their own community to kind of, to feed off these other people that are, suffering in this environment. Um, yeah, so I guess I kind of had that idea, and I haven't really started writing anything, but I definitely do want to work on writing that after I'm done.
Sounds very cool. Sounds like some of the stuff I'm watching right now. I
Yeah.
just started watching Dead City
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
I gave up on The Walking Dead quite a while ago, but Dead City intrigued me enough to pick it up. So it's pretty good. But
Yeah.
yeah, the whole humanity splinters into tribes whenever things get rough. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Did The Walking Dead just get too long, or what happened?
I was a big fan of the comics, and it
Mhm.
deviated so much from the comics that I just couldn't get into it.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
so I gave up after partway through season two.
Mm. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I never read the comics, and I think I watched a few episodes, and I was just like, wow, it's kind of a big commitment. It's like 11 seasons or something like that, maybe 9 seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it is, but it's a very long show. I don't know if I want to finish it all, but I definitely will give it a watch, because I do kind of want more ideas to kind of, saturate myself in zombie stories. I don't know what intrigued me so much about zombies, but I think it was also kind of the environments you get from a zombie story, especially with like a lot of abandoned things, that kind of imagery. I kind of wanted to showcase that in a film, and I thought that would be really powerful. And if it was a tropical zombie movie, I could show a lot more beautiful things. Or I'm still not too sure where I want to set it, but yeah, I would definitely want a very good backdrop and environment for that.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure if you want it, you'll make it happen.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure how much money I'm going to need for that, but I was kind of creating this concept if, kind of seeing if I could do this for 100 grand, maybe, if I can get some kind of, deal. I think that was 100 grand is just about, like indie budget. It's not ultra indie budget, but it's like relatively studio indie budget. But I would have to get into more of it to see how much I would actually, need to make that happen.
Yeah, well, 100 grand can it it doesn't go as far as you hope. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. Yeah, I think Gareth Edwards. I think he made his film for like 500 grand or something like that, and they had a very small crew. I think most of the money basically went to the actors and
Yeah.
travel and everything like that. So everything the actual movie you're seeing, I think, was a lot less than a 500 grand. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very sad story.
Yeah,
Well, Jared, I feel like we talked about a lot tonight.
I think so too. Yeah.
I feel like we talked about what we normally talk about on the podcast, the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of
Right.
true independent filmmaking. And man, I am very impressed with everything that you have done.
Thank you.
I wanna thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course.
And where where can we find anything you have out there? Anything you have you want to plug?
Oh, yeah, I think just on my YouTube channel, Jared Zaragosa with a capital J and Z, and then minus a space.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming on the show,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
greatly appreciated. Wish you all the best luck in the world.
All right. Thank you.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks